Welcome, welcome. Waiting for the right treatment, waiting for the right medication to start working in a chronic illness can often be a disastrous choice. And I'm going to share with you a personal story of how it sort of nearly upended our entire life. If you're joining me live, make sure that you just drop in and say hi. I'm not able to always see the name, so it'll be really nice if you could just mention who you are, where you are joining me live from, and of course, if you have any questions, make sure that you drop in that in the comments too. I'll make sure to get around to it. Today I'm going to be talking about why waiting for the right treatment, the right drug, the right medications to start working in any kind of severe chronic illnesses like autoimmune conditions, and I work primarily with women with autoimmune conditions. It is not always the right strategy, but I am not saying that you should not be consulting a medical professionals, that you should not be going for medication or the treatment to ensure that you can prevent for future damage. All I'm saying is that while you are waiting for that, while you're waiting for a diagnosis or a treatment, you can start making certain healthier choices, healthier changes in your life in terms of your diet and lifestyle, so that you don't keep getting sicker and sicker while you're waiting. So that's where I'm sort of coming from. And my coaching program, Healing from Within, for women with autoimmune conditions, it opens for enrollment for a limited period of time for next week from 28th March to 31st March. So if you're looking to ease your pain, your fatigue, using a root cause functional medicine approach, then make sure that you click on the link in the Facebook post and schedule a clarity call. If you're watching this on Instagram, then make sure that you head to the link in the bio, and schedule a free 45 minutes clarity call where we can sort of connect with each other and see if you're right fit, and decide on a best plan of action for you. So again, this program opens for enrollment on Monday, the 28th of March, and ends on the 31st of March. It's open for a limited number of slots only. So, we were waiting a couple of years for our daughter's treatment to show results. This was way back in 2012, 11 and actually 2012. She was only 6 years old at that time. Actually, 5.5 and 6 years old at that time, and she was dealing with severe eczema, and nothing was working. That's the reason we had to move to stronger medications like immunosuppressive drugs, like oral steroids, and that sort of stemmed the disease progression, but it not really did not really clear her eczema completely. Of course, it certainly improved the quality of her lifestyle because she was at least able to sleep at nights. Before that, she had consecutive sleepless nights and extremely bad skin issues, etc. At least the drugs started to help her to allow her skin to start healing. But in our daughter's case, also what happened is that we were waiting and we were waiting for things to start getting better, for so to give us some notion that things were under control, and we were hoping that it would just be a matter of time, that she would get better, that her skin would start healing, and she would be off these medications altogether, because as you can imagine, giving immunosuppressive medication or oral steroids are the last thing that you resort to, especially for a child as young as 6 years of age. But we had no choice, and we were desperate at that time, and we did not know any better. And as luck would have it, she had a severe side effect, and it put her in the hospitals with a severe life-threatening infection and almost took her life. However, we were very, very fortunate to have an amazing team of doctors and staff at the hospital, and she pulled through, and she recovered, and we sort of but the thing is that we did not take any other step at that time to figure out what was going on. We never asked why. We are often not taught to do that, right? We are not asked to we are not taught how to ask questions as to why do we have this disease, why are we having these problems, why is my skin behaving this way, why is my immune system behaving this way. Because again, at the root of eczema is also immune dysregulation. Eczema, allergies, asthma, they all have immune dysregulation at the root, just like autoimmune conditions and many other diseases do. And of course, there is a strong connection to gut health, and which is ultimately actually what healed her eczema, by focusing on her gut, by repairing her gut lining over the next couple of years, and that allowed her eczema to heal as well. It's of course not a lifelong thing. You need to be on the path of constant healing journey, but you are able to enjoy the almost like the good quality life. Today she's riding, the symptoms are almost negligible. So this is an ongoing journey. Healing and health creation is an ongoing journey. But some of the things that that of course we learned were, of course, that there are better alternatives, right? If only we know where to look for them. We didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. It was only through a year of research. The whole of 2014 is what I sort of undertook, a whole year of research and trying to figure out what else we could do, and that's how I literally stumbled across functional medicine. Before that, of course, I went back to the roots of traditional healthcare systems, which is Ayurveda in my country, where I live. And honestly, that's something that we don't really practice on a daily basis. And I decided to go back to the roots and started really understanding what is at the root of chronic illnesses, and what role does food have to play, if any. And as I did that, I understood that there are root causes which need to be dealt with. Otherwise, what we are simply doing with these treatments and medications is only at a very superficial level, which is about symptom management. And while these are necessary, in many cases, in most cases, in severe chronic and they are actually a short-term solution, short to medium-term solution, not a long-term solution, right? That's exactly what I realized during my entire year of research. And also the importance of gut health. And then that's when I actually started creating a healing environment. That's when I started to understand what was at the root of this all, whether it was supporting the body's healing process by giving the right nutrients, by taking out toxins from the environment, through mindfulness, gratitude. There's so many things that we need to address when we try to create a healing environment through with a mind-body approach, and that's how it works, because we are a whole person. We are not made up of discrete body parts. All the systems in our body work in tandem with each other. All our hormones talk to each other. So whatever, everything is connected to everything else. So whatever is going on in our body is affecting every other part of your body. And your immune system is everywhere. 70% actually resides in your gut. That's why we start with focusing on the gut, but it doesn't, of course, end there. And that's when I started seeing a difference. It took 2 years, but we took her off all the medications. She's had flare ups since then. She's been on medication, but it's so much easier to manage with the right foods, with just making a few changes, with some maybe supplements. So, but this is an ongoing journey, and your quality of life can be completely different, because I know when I interact with my clients in my coaching program in various forums, that chronic pain and fatigue, severe pain and fatigue are debilitating symptoms in the case, especially for autoimmune conditions and many other chronic illnesses for that matter. And all those have to be addressed at a root level. So the actually the lessons that I want to share with you today is that a root cause approach is what you need to move towards if you're looking to address any chronic health issues, right? That's, I think, if you were to take away only one key aspect, only one key thing from today's session, it would be that it would be to ask why. Why do I have this condition? Why do I have this disease? I can't emphasize that enough. In functional medicine, the way we look at things, when we talk to a client, it is more about what kind of person has this disease rather than what kind of disease this person has. right? That's what I'm trying to sort of, that's a message that I'm trying to convey here. And not just chase the diagnosis or the treatment. Again, the treatment is important, the medications are important. So of course, you need to consult a medical professional. It's not an either or situation here, so that you don't you stem further tissue damage, organ damage. Your quality of life improves. You have the strength and the energy to make changes that are necessary to heal from your chronic illness. But that your responsibility does not end there. It actually, when you start feeling better, that's when you need to start taking other measures which actually start addressing the root of what's really going on and why you have this disease. And supporting the body's healing process becomes critical here. Often, the way that we are conditioned to tackle this is that we are constantly at war with our bodies, right? This is a very common feature that I've noticed, and which is why in my coaching program I ensure that we are constantly, we understand what's happening with us, with our bodies, and why it is behaving in that manner, and that it's not our enemy, right? It's actually trying to protect us in a way that it can. And that's the reason that our immune system is choosing to respond to the situation, because our body is trying its best to survive in the environment that we're asking it to live in. And in many cases, in many ways, autoimmune condition is a form of maladaptation, right? So you need to understand what's really going on, and then also start to tune into your body's wisdom. Your symptoms are a message, and it's your body's way and your immune system's way of catching your attention. Most of the times we simply try and medicate them away. We completely ignore them, or as long as we can. And then, when we can't, then of course we have to make time for our health issues. But that's not the approach that I teach in my program. So what happens is that even when my clients stop working with me, when they continue on their own journey, they are able to sustain many of the changes that we actually had implemented during the entire program, simply because they are now completely tuned into what their body needs from them. They can tweak their food habits, their routines, their self care practices as and when they need to. It's because they have learned how to heed those messages. They have several tools in their self care toolkit. Again, a very important aspect of my coaching program, healing from within. As women, we are not really good at in making sure that we're taking good care of ourselves on a daily basis. There's so many responsibilities that we have. So in particular, I find that for women, it's self-care is not really a priority in many cases. So we learn how to make that a priority. And it's of course a customized approach, right? It cannot be a one size fits all approach. All of us are different. We have unique requirements. While a lot of things are common in terms of gut health, in terms of what other how you need to create the foundations for long-term health, a lot of other things need to be customized, right? So while there might be three people with the same kind of diagnosis, and of course gut health will be where we start. One person may be dealing with severe chronic stress issues, another person might be dealing more with detoxification impairment. So it can be different things that we need to prioritize and customize this entire approach. And this is the reason, because of my own experience, as I shared with you in the beginning of the session, that it was my own experience, it was our family's experience of waiting for things to get better. We naively thought that just taking these medications and doing the tests and visiting the doctors would help our daughter's health to completely become normal, completely reverse her symptoms. That did not happen. And in fact, it was it was some we had a severe crisis which we of course overcame, and we are very fortunate to have done that. And it was a very important lesson learned, which is why I wanted to come on today and share this lesson with you, that you do not need to wait for the right treatment, the right diagnosis, and the right kind of medications to to start working, or maybe to figure out what's going on. Maybe you're waiting for a diagnosis, or you're not, or you can have some kind of autoimmune condition, or maybe the doctors are not able to tell you which condition that you have. It might be various things that you are dealing with, but waiting is not the right strategy, because what happens often is that while you're waiting, you're getting sicker and sicker. The symptoms are becoming more severe. It's extremely common, when and my heart goes out to all those people who are just waiting, and they wait years, if not decades, sometimes for a diagnosis, sometimes for a medicine to start working. And then what happens is that these are extremely strong medications, so even when the medicine, a particular drug, starts working, they may have to switch to another medication, because they have a severe side effects of that one particular drug. So this sort of cycle goes on and on, and all the time you're getting sicker and sicker, and the symptoms are just getting more severe. So rather than waiting for all this to keep happening, you can start taking charge of your own health. A lot of things that are at the foundation of long-term health is in your hands, which includes diet, which is food as medicine, your lifestyle, your mindset, the way you approach long-term health creation. And this is exactly what I cover in my coaching program, Healing from Within. It's for women with autoimmune conditions, and who are looking to ease their pain, to reduce their fatigue using a root cause functional medicine approach. So if it opens for enrollment on the 28th of March and closes on 31st of March for a limited number of slots only. So if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure that you use the link and schedule a free 45 minutes clarity call. If you're watching it on Instagram, the link is in the bio. In this call, we will understand, we connect with each other. I understand a bit more of what's going on, and we see if you're the right fit, and of course, what's the next best step for you. So make sure that you check out the link that I have mentioned. I hope you enjoyed this session. Share, do drop in the comments and let me know what was the one thing that resonated most with you from today's session. So what was the one thing that you took away from today's session? And I will see you again next time.